Past the door was a 10-by-5 room. 2 items sat in capsules against the wall. One was the armor, the other his weapon. He pressed a button and the pod opened up. This part, and only this part, required a certified soldier of the United Planets to access. Lee withdrew a piece of the armor and studied it. He leisurely equipped himself, not confused in the least about how to don the gear. His only concern was making sure being a beef clop herder hadn't removed his body's conditioning to the process. Boots always went on last, so he set them aside. Only a fool tried to equip anything but the chest piece first. He put on the chest, both arms, and slowly worked on the legs. They took longer than he remembered. The shoulders were tricky due to their thickness. The suit was much more flexible than it looked and could brush off most attacks. It bent well enough to march forward, then swing a weapon around and fire on the side. Only a fool tried to shoot the gun one-handed. Lee was a fool in everything but this. That's why he took his time rechecking every piece of his suit, not from confusion, but to make sure the process was completed with proper reverence. The helm went on second to last. Gears ground together louder than before as pieces sealed. After the last sound died off, a gruff, authoritative voice started speaking a pre-recorded message.
"Soldier,"
the voice echoed in Lee's ears, but Becky couldn't hear it.
"You've been cleared to return to duty by a commanding officer."
"Yeah." Lee chuckled, then happily bobbed his head. "Finally." He moved with vigor, stretching the suit left, then right. Lee ignored the machine and put on his boots. To him, the pre-recorded message sounded exactly like every hellfire sermon his father had given over the years. It meant about as much.
"Due to the 750 solar days of deactivation, United Planets regulations require a reminder of your MP status."
MP. Back in training, that had meant military personnel owned by the government in all ways but one. Later on, it meant something else entirely. Meat puppet. That's what soldiers were now. Bodies inside a machine serving as the human double-check. Civilians were comforted, while the powers that be gradually trained and genetically modified away all hesitations an MP might have.
"You are an MP and nothing more. Commanding officers will advise you on how to proceed. Orders must be obeyed for the continued prosperity of our fine worlds."
He shook his head and went through rusty motions. One arm was checked for lights and the seals. Everything bound correctly. Seals were formed in the right spots, pressurizing against most basic gases. The other arm looked a bit more worn, but everything checked out. Meanwhile, the voice droned on.
"This stellar piece of military hardware was created by the boys in R&D."
The recording exaggerated each word like an old Earth drill sergeant.
"And only requires your highly trained reactions to properly function. It will show you what to shoot. It will tell you when is best to shoot. You are only required to pull the trigger and decide which routes are tactically sound in pursuit of your goal. This concludes the mandated reminder by United Planets regulations. Now get out there and show them what you're made of, soldier."
Point, shoot, move on, and repeat, until Satan himself pissed his pants in fear. Those were the directives given to all meat puppets.